Sergeant Leonardo, we're live.
Sergeants, please start the recordings.
Recordings underway.
Good morning and welcome to today's remote New York City Council hearing for the Committee on Governmental Operations. At this time, we ask that council members and staff turn on their video for verification purposes. To minimize disruptions, please place cell phones and electronic devices to vibrate or silent. We thank you for your cooperation. Chair, we are ready to begin.
Thank you so much. I am Councilmember Fernando Cabrera, Chair of the Committee on Governmental Operation. I want to start off by thanking the members of the committee who have joined us today. Council members myself, Kalos, Powers, Darmet Diaz, Rosenthal, Yeager, and council member. That's what I have right now. So today, the committee will be voting on three pieces of legislation. The first is proposed introduction number 66A, sponsored by Majority Leader Combo. This bill will require the mayor to establish a new office for neighborhood safety and the prevention of gun violence. This office will address gun violence in a holistic manner. Among other things, it will administer the city's crisis management system, which uses a secure violence approach to stop neighborhood violence at its source. Launched in 2014, the CMS grew out of a proposal from the council's task force to combat gun violence. As I have mentioned before, I had the distinct privilege of serving as the co-chair of the task force on site with now and former council member and now public advocate Germani Williams. Both together we work on that task force, and we're very proud of the work that the cure violence programs are doing nowadays. And I'm proud to be voting on legislation today that will enshrine the crisis management system in our city's charter. So congratulations to my colleague, Majority Leader Combo. The second bill on our agenda is proposed introduction number 2117A, sponsored by Councilmember Powers. This bill will require all executive orders issued by the mayor to be published online within one business day of execution. As the city continues to adopt new policies to respond to the evolving public health crisis, this bill will ensure that New Yorkers have access to newly issued executive orders as soon as possible. So congratulations, Councilmember Powers, on this tremendous transparency bill. The third and final bill we're voting on today's proposed introduction number 2438A, sponsored by Councilmember Rosenthal. For every election held in New York City, the Campaign Finance Board publishes a voter guide to inform New Yorkers about the candidates and proposals on the ballot. This bill will implement a number of changes to ensure that the voter guide reaches as many New Yorkers as possible. Specifically, the bill will require the voter guide to be published in 6 additional languages, meaning it will be available in each of the top 11 languages spoken throughout the city. In addition, the bill will require the online version of the voter guide to include a video statement from each candidate and will require each video to include captioning in 11 languages and translation in American Sign Language. Finally, the bill will require the voter guide to be made available in a format that is accessible to New Yorkers with print and vision disabilities. So Councilmember Rosenthal, I see you. Congratulations in this wonderful bill that is going to help so many of our voters. And so my hat's off to you. And so with that, again, I'd like to thank Majority Leader Combo, Councilmember Powers, Councilmember Rosenthal for the leadership in these bills. And I want to thank our committee staff, CJ Mary and Sebastian Bacci, for the work on this hearing. Finally, I want to thank my own legislative director Clark Pena for his assistance. And today will be the last time I'll be chairing this committee. Yes, before we had the last hearing, but this is going to be the last vote. So I salute every sergeant, every staff, all of the council members who've been in part of this committee. You've been amazing, been a pleasure. to work with you. We accomplished so much through this committee. So thank you for being you, and thank you for your leadership. And so with that, I believe Councilmember Rosenthal, would you like to give a statement on your bill?
Thank you so much, Chair Cabrera. Congratulations for a term well spent with oversight on government operations. Congratulations to you on that. And as you say, you're right. Congratulations to all the sergeants and the staff who make these hearings possible. Switching over to Zoom is a hell of a task, and they have been doing an amazing job. I just want to expound a little bit on your description of the bill. I really appreciate your support to expand access to voting for people with disabilities, to increase access to 6 more of the highest spoken languages in the city, and for video purposes to include ASL now as one of the languages that will be required in each of the videos. So I do want to mention 2 things. One is that we've made a very exciting incentive for participants to provide a video. And keep in mind, the video is critical for those who are visually impaired. And so the incentive now is that the remaining 5% of Campaign Finance Board's allocation will be withheld if somebody does not participate. But I want to acknowledge and thank Councilmember Yeager in particular for raising a concern about those who cannot do their video for some reason or another, all of which are totally understandable, that a waiver can be granted to those candidates by the Campaign Finance Board. So one simply applies for that waiver, and then it will be granted, and their 5% will be given, the remaining 5% will be given to them. So the incentive, I think, will be very meaningful for the hundreds and thousands of New Yorkers who will get more access to information and increase the likelihood of them voting. I want to thank the advocates so much for educating all of us on not just the importance of this legislation, but to make sure that we get the language right to include access for as many New Yorkers as possible, including English language learners. So this is very exciting, and I want to thank you, Councilmember Cabrera, for your encouragement. Thank the staff, CJ Murray, and also and Jeff Baker, and also thank and Rachel Cordero, and also thank the staff at Campaign Finance Board who were really excited about this legislation, who had piloted the video voter guide for the last 2 years to great success. So thank you to the city and to you, Councilmember Cabrera. We're going to be increasing access to information for so many voters and hopefully getting better turnout for those with disabilities. So thank you very much. I encourage my colleagues to vote yes on this bill.
Well, thank you so much. And again, thank you for your leadership. This is going to be a bill that is really going to have an impact in our constituents and our voters. And thank you for making the bill stronger through the contribution of the suggestions made by our colleague, Councilmember Yeager. And also, I want to recognize being joined by Councilmember Levin and Councilmember Rodriguez, 2 other very valuable members of this committee that I want to thank.
Chair,
and,
Chair, can I just jump in with one more quick thank you? I would be remiss if I did not thank the Mayor's Office of People with Disability under the leadership of Victor Calisi, who has been an extraordinary advocate for those with disabilities. And of course, to Edward Friedman, who was an intern in my office and has sparked so many of these pieces of legislation to support those with disabilities. And good luck to him. He's now at Yale, and I know he's going to come back to the city as an amazing lawyer, advocate, and I wish him well in his future endeavors. But he's been just invaluable in all this work. Thank you, Chair. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. And let me just add one thing here, because for many years, and you mentioned both of them, CJ Mary and Sebastian Bacci, have done a tremendous work in this committee. They're truly a pleasure to work with. They're just so sharp, so smart, and they help us make these bills what they are. And so my hat's off to both of them and to my legislative director, Clark Pena. So with that, I know everyone is eager to vote now. And so I want to thank all my colleagues again, and I would not like to turn it over to the clerk to call the roll.
Thank you and good morning. This is the Committee on Governmental Operations. Roll call vote on intros 66A, 2117A, and 2438A. We'll start with Chair Cabrera.
For the very last time in the committee, I vote aye on.
Thank you. And Council Members Rodriguez.
I vote aye, and thank you, Chairman, for your leadership, not only on this bill supporting, Councilmember Helen Rosenthal, but also what you did with us in this couple of years in this committee have been amazing, and especially voting the municipal voting rights that put ourselves and put you as a chairman of this committee, in a position where we are definitely writing a new chapter of advancing not only immigrants, but democracy in our society. With that, I vote aye.
Gracias, mi hermano.
Thank you. Councilmember Levin.
Vote aye.
Councilmember Kalos.
Permission to explain my vote?
Absolutely.
Chair Fernando Cabrera, I want to thank you for your leadership of the Governmental Operations Committee. It's a big committee. It's a tough committee. The work we've been able to get done over the past 4 years was not stuff that we're able to get done. You know how much I care about full public matching, and working with you as the chair of the committee, we were able to get through the Charter Revision Commission, where we put it up for a vote for a 75% match, which won with more than 80% of the votes. After the charter revision, we were able to pass Local Law 1 of 2019 that applied the public match to the public advocates race in every special election since then. And then working through with you and through this committee, we're able to pass a full public match at 89.89%. And we've seen everything start to change. It doesn't mean that special interests don't still have power, but who can run is no longer dictated. It is something that anyone can do. And with these changes ushered in by this committee, we've seen a city council that beat 21 and 21 to get to more than 26 women, a majority person of color that's more reflective of our city. And so this committee has an incredible amount to be proud of. And you've done an amazing job as chair. And I think the only thing that I'm slightly sad about that we weren't able to get done together is Chair Cabrera, I know you believe in allowing people to get on the ballot by paying a modest fee. I had proposed legislation about just if you make the public matching threshold, you should get on. But either way, I want to thank you for during this pandemic at a time that people were sending people out to get COVID at the height of the pandemic to get on the ballot. You were somebody who was willing to go against the grain, go against the party infrastructure, and just try to make it easier for anybody to get on the ballot and run. So a lot to be proud of. This committee has a lot to be proud of. The council has a lot to be proud of. Vote aye on all.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate your partnership.
Councilmember Mizell.
Yes.
Councilmember Powers.
Permission to explain my vote?
Absolutely.
I'm voting aye on all, but I just want to commend Chair Cabrera, who has been just a fantastic chair of this committee. And I aspire at times to be as willing to let some of your colleagues be able to have the space and time to ask questions. You've always been very collegial, and you've been a good chair in the sense of being able to let us be part of leading this committee as well. And I've always really admired that about the way you run the committee. And I wish I did a better job of that, but I have something to aim for in the second term. So I just want to say very, very much thank you for the way you've treated us as committee members and the way that you have run this committee. And I imagine this is both a sad and proud moment for you as leading your last committee, but I want to let you know that we're all proud of the way you ran it, and has been a really enjoyable experience. And I've always enjoyed serving with Kalman Yeager on the GOVOPS committee, which is an experience in its own life with my friend Kalman, who fights hard for the issues he believes in. So thanks to you, thanks to everyone on this committee for making it an enjoyable experience over the last 4 years.
Thank you for your kind words. They really touch my heart. Appreciate it.
Councilmember Yeager.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, may I be excused to explain my vote
Absolutely.
as briefly as I can. I guess we've gotten to the point in this vote, in this meeting of this committee, where everything's been said, but not everybody said it. So I'll do my part. You've been an incredible chair. Just the way you've run the meetings, the way you've run our hearings, the way you've had just a huge amount of respect for opinions which differed from your own, to the exclusion, unfortunately, of a lot of members of this council. You've really listened to those who you don't agree with, and given them, as I think Councilman Power said, the space to have that conversation, to do it in public and to make the record clear. And I'm also going to avail myself of that today a little bit. In explaining my vote, I will vote aye on all, but very briefly on introduction 2438, I just want to explain, because I assume that this vote one day, my hesitation on it will one day become true. The Campaign Finance Board is very famous for taking our laws, statutes that this council has passed, that previous councils have passed, and bastardizing them for their own purposes. And whenever I see a statute passed by this council, by any council, that includes phrases like by rule of the board or to the satisfaction of the board, leaving pretty much our intent up to their whim and desire, when I know, based on experience, how untruthful, deceitful they are, not simply by practice, but almost in policy. I mean, it's very clear. I've watched the last few weeks. They've run around the city lying about our bills. They're just not truthful. And they do it with class and with dignity and with grace, but they're liars. And so when I see a bill like this that gives them almost an unfettered ability to deny a candidate public funds based on whether or not, to their satisfaction, compliance with a particular statute has been met, it concerns me a little bit. On the other hand, I balance that against that if the satisfaction is not met, the taxpayers will perhaps save 5% on that particular candidate's spending, and maybe that's a good thing in balance. I don't know, but I think that we will be back one day talking about the ways that the Campaign Finance Board has hurt candidates using this rule to beat them over the head. And I will again say for the record that I am incredibly disappointed that the Campaign Finance Board insists in advance that scripts of video statements be provided to them, subject to their vetting, subject to their editing, subject to the discretion of what they think a candidate can say. Candidate should be able to say whatever he or she believes to his or her voters without any editing whatsoever, without any censorship whatsoever by a government body. And as long as the CFB reserves for itself the right to do that, I remain very concerned about the stick by which they beat candidates around the city. And I agree with Councilman Kalos that I think that the experiment of the campaign finance system has proven itself in this current session that we're in, and in the new session that's about to start on January 1st. Look at the city and look who was able to win elections because the taxpayers chipped in a little bit to help out. It's a good system. The Campaign Finance Board doesn't do it very well. And so I will be voting aye on all, but I wanted to state that for the record so that when this all happens, we can pull up the transcript and I could do one of my favorite "I told you so's." Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Again, your leadership of this committee has been incredible. And I'm very, very grateful, not just for your leadership here, but for your friendship for the last 4 years, and even earlier than that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Councilmember Dharma Diaz.
Yes, and thank you for your leadership. Although we spent a small amount of time together, it was definitely a pleasure to have you to my left at the chamber. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
A la orden, caballero.
Chair Cabrera, by a vote of 8 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions, all items on today's agenda are adopted.
Well, thank you, everyone. Congratulations to all the sponsors of the bill. And I salute again all my colleagues who are serving this committee. You're amazing. You're tremendous leaders that have brought about change and systematic change, comprehensive change, and you have led with your heart. Thank you. Thank you for your friendship. It's something that I will never, ever forget. It's been truly a joy serving with you. I'm getting emotional. Thank you, everyone. And with that, we close today's meeting. God bless you all.